Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I'm going to show you how I make my sweet Fenrisian Wolves. Okay, so today I have 3 packs of Fenrisian Wolves. What I'd like to do is create 3 distinct color patterns so that you can see what pack they go to. I have organized each pack by the model, separated it, and I'm going to kind of go over what I'd like. I'd like this to be kind of like my light tan with kind of a darker tan stripe. I'd like this to be my dark, it's like dark brown with a little bit of black in there too. And these would be like black, almost black and white wolves. So it'd be white for most with a gray stripe. These will be brown with a little bit of black fading into a light brown. These will be very light brown, fading like a creamish flesh color. I'll be using contrast paint for the majority of this. And then when I'm done, I'll be going through using some regular paints for the skin and things like that to give it that smooth, solid color. When I'm done with that, I will then dry brush it with either a white or a brown, depending on distinct pack coloration. So here we go. As you can see, I'm using the lighter color first and I'm going all over the place. That way when I bring the darker color in, I can put it on there while this is still just a little bit wet, and it'll create a nice blend from the dark to the light. It won't be such a harsh transition between the one and the other. Okay, I'll come back once all the light tans are done. Now I've finished my coat of skeleton horde. I'm going to use Wyldwood now for all the big main fur patches up here on like the thicker fur parts, and then kind of the stripe down the center. Starting with the first model, and here I'm just hitting all of these big fur patches. Now if it mixes with the skeleton horde because it's still a little bit wet, that's totally perfect. It's actually what I want. I want it to be more of a nice transition, and then we'll kind of just feather this out onto the lighter parts. Get some more here, back here, drag it out. Now the only time I'll ever use contrast paints is on fur. Now I like using contrast paint on fur because it allows me to get a lot of really great kind of crystal clear detail without actually clogging up any of the sculpted detail, which is pretty important. I don't want to clog that up with too much acrylic paint, and then you got to go in because still have to dry brush after this. Now again, contrast paint, I only use this just to get kind of the general shape. I still will go through and I will do a little bit of dry brush, and right now I'm still stippling this out to kind of draw it out more of a natural shape. I'll go to the other side here. In nature, things aren't always perfectly symmetrical, so if you make this stripe not exactly perfect, that's cool. And I'm going to want to actually hit this center stripe again to make it even darker. Hit the center stripe a little tiny bit more. We want that nice tonal variation between the thicker parts of the fur and the thinner parts of the fur. And then once we're all done, we'll go back through again with Rakarth Flesh, and we'll actually pick out the skin to give that just another texture. The acrylic paint goes on a lot smoother. Hit these little fur bits up. The acrylic paint goes on smoother, which makes it look more like nice, smooth skin. So there's the beginning of the second coat of my light brown wolf. I will come back once all 5 are up to this point. Okay, I got my squad of my tan to slightly darker brown wolves done. Now I'm going to get my pack, not squad, my pack of my dark wolves, which are going to be Cygor brown. There we go. Cygor brown and Black Templar. The lighter color first. Okay, now I got my Cygor brown base coat done. I'm going to come in with Black Templar and hit up all the thicker fur areas to give it a nice dark contrast. And here we go. And that'll all come out better once it's dry brushed. And I'll come back once they're all done. Okay, now I got my dark wolves done. I'm going to work on my light wolves, my whitish to gray. I'm going to start off with Apothecary White. And then just for a few little tiny spots, I'm going to go a little bit of the Black Templar. But first, Apothecary White. Now this thing, I've never had it really work as awesome as I wanted it to. But this kind of goes on a little bluish. But I figured it'd be a good base coat, at least, for my other colors to go on top of. So I'm just going to slap it on and see how it goes. So it's worth to note that I primed all of these miniatures in gray cere. Normally, for the darker fur, I would use Wraithbone because it has kind of a brownish undertone. But I knew I was going to be doing some lighter ones. So the gray cere was a much better choice. Not letting it dry completely between here and Basilicanum Gray, so there can be a nice, more of a fluid transition. So there's the first coat. I will come back once all the other ones are done. Okay, now my Apothecary White base has been put on all these white wolves. I'm going to use Basilicanum Gray to do the darker fur. As you can see, this is still a little bit wet, so I'm making sure that the upper part first, so all the darkest concentration of the pigment goes there, and as I bring it down, it naturally gets lighter as it mixes with the first coat of the Apothecary White. So this is like your natural gradient here. So there he is, my grayish whitish wolf. A lot of the transition will come out better once it all dries, and then I'll dry brush it to make it look more uniform. Okay, I have completed the skin color of all 3 of my different packs. I've decided to show off the same model to see what the different styles looks like. So here's my light brown style with dark brown back. Here's my light white and gray one. And then here is my dark black and brown one. These will all be look way different when I dry brush them, which I'll be doing now. For the skin on this one, I used a combination of Doom Bowl brown and Mournfang brown to kind of match somewhat with that Cygor a little bit. This one here, I used Celestra gray, a little bit of Corax white. Gives it kind of an icy blue color. Again, this will look a little bit different when I dry brush it all. And then this one is just Xandri dust. As you can see, the detail on the skin is a lot smoother as opposed to the fur. So now I'm going to find some paint to use for the dry brushing of the wolves. This one I'll try and find kind of a reddish brown a little bit to somewhat match here the skin, but add a little bit of white to it to kind of add some coloration differences there. For this, just be using a white, probably white scars. It's a good dry brush there. And then for this one, I'll probably be using Xandri dust and mixed with white scars just to give it more of a lighter brown. So I'll get dry brushing. So there it is, all dry brushed. Once they're all done, I'll go back and I'll do the details like the eyes and the nose and the claws and everything, and then I'll put them on their bases.